So let's now move into the user experience for Joe and his screen reader. So we've covered the area of understanding that widgets don't update the code. So Joe would need to activate the widget and then hope that the widget, one, is easy to use, and second, adds the functionality and the sort of accessibility that has not been added in the code. So let's look at what that looks like. So first, I want Joe to, and we're looking at Joe's screen right now, I want Joe to just before activating the widget, so understanding the sort of where the website is before you activate the widget, just to simply tab through some navigation to hear what that navigation sounds like to Joe before he adds the widget experience. If you could do that, Joe.
Okay.
Press enter to skip to main content. Press enter to skip to main content. Press enter to skip to main content.
So I'm tabbing through right now, and
so Joe, I just want to stop you there. And this is why sort of Joe and I do it together. What people can probably see on the screen, if they don't, I would like them to look at the top navigation where it says contact us, login, registry. You can see that Joe's actually tabbing through those main top level navigation, but hearing skip to main content. So firstly, the website is poorly coded and doesn't give him direction of what those links are. Maybe you can carry on, Joe.
Press enter to skip to main content. Search text edit. Norton Shopping Guarantee 9. Search items now button collapsed. Search items now button collapsed. To active search items now button collapsed. To activate press space. Search items now button collapsed. To activate press space bar. Search items now button collapsed. To activate press space bar. Menu. Locksmith store. To move through items press up or down arrow. Sale. We buy remotes.
Okay. So
menu.
Just to give you, so actually the top navigation seemed a little strange. Didn't give Joe direction that he could log in or register, and for some reasons probably weirdly coded. But if we now actually go and activate the widget, so we saw before when I did testing, none of the code is updated when the widget is activated. What the widget does is provide an alternative way to get an accessible experience. So let's see whether that widget improves the experience for Joe. Just a note, the reason why we're making this a recording and not doing it live is it's taken about an hour for me to be Joe's eyes on how to really use this widget in any meaningful way for him, because there's not an easy way for him to know what the widget does and how it's meant to improve his experience. And obviously Joe's been using his chosen screen readers for a long time. So this is all new technology for him. So he, in a way, he has to learn a new set of technology even to benefit from the widget. But let's see whether there is any benefit in him using the widget. So Joe, maybe you could activate that widget and look to turn on the keyboard commands.
okay.
Escape. Home. Leaving menus. Combo box. Select here.
Hold on.
Menu. We escape. Sale. Locksmith store. Leaving menus. Locksmith escape.
Just bear with me because
Locksmith.
I've lost keyboard control on this website.
Keyless entry remote.
There we go.
Norton Shopping Guarantee. Accessibility. Press enter to skip to main content menu button.
Okay.
Press enter to enable accessibility. Press enter to skip to main content button. Press enter to enable accessibility for visually impaired. To activate press enter to skip to main. Press enter to open the user web link accessibility link our Facebook. Link accessibility company homepage. Press enter to open the user way accessibility menu button.
So, so maybe you could explain firstly what type of experience you're getting trying to open the actual widget right now.
Right now it's sort of confusing because I'm getting some pieces that have to do with the widget menu, and then I just heard something for Facebook. So there's social media stuff thrown in the mix just to make things interesting.
Press enter to skip to main content. Press enter to enable. Press enter to open the user way accessibility main link accessibility. Press enter to open.
All right. We're going to try this again.
Keyless entry. Norton Shopping. Press enter to skip to main content. To activate, press space. Press enter to enable accessibility for visually impaired. To activate, press space. Press enter. Press enter to enable accessibility for visually impaired.
I want you to select that. So let's select it. You are visually impaired. So let's
press enter to enable accessibility. Press enter to skip to main content.
Right.
Press enter to open the user way access. Press enter to skip to main content. A close menu button. Press link accessibility company homepage. Link our Facebook.
Just navigating around it. If I've lost it, so I'm going to go back to it again.
Keyless Norton Shopping accessibility. Press enter to skip to main content menu frame button. Press enter to enable accessibility for visually impaired.
Okay, so we're
press
going to do
enter
that.
to press enter to enable accessibility for visually impaired button.
All right, so we've done that.
Okay, so we maybe some of us are on the call, but which are visually
control you.
Okay, can see that some elements of the site have been changed in terms of from a sort of font use, font size, color, some contrast issues. I wanted you to again now go through the tab and see whether that has
to enable accessibility for visually impaired link graphic. Press enter to enable accessibility for visually impaired link graphic. Press enter to enable accessibility for visually.
What people should be seeing now is that top bar again, where we were hearing
4.8 Google customer repeat link graphic. 4.8 Google.
We're now hearing
Google customer link graphic.
Can you stop the cursor, or unless it's taking control of it?
Nope, I got it. I've stopped it.
So where we were hearing before, skip to main contact on contact us and log in and register, there's a message to select it to turn on the accessibility control. The accessibility controls are on. So again, Joe, maybe you can give me your feedback in terms of what has that done for you to sort of like, before you were hearing skip to main content, now you're hearing the open accessibility panel on those links. What does that mean? What is that sort of telling you from a user perspective?
Well, it's just confusing because I just went through the menu and specifically turned on the controls for visually impaired, yet I'm getting, the only difference is now in that main navigation where those links were, it's just the wording. Instead of whatever the wording was earlier for the link that kept repeating, now we just have click here to access the accessibility menu. That's now the new link that's being repeated over and over again, but yet I don't have any access to any of the content. So it's extremely frustrating.
So one of the things I want to sort of now like just ask you, because I'm gonna sort of explain what we who can visually see what's changed on the site is happening, and then maybe you can give me your technical understanding of like what that might. Is that useful? Is that a benefit beyond what you have in your own assistive technology? So right now we've seen that font sizes have increased slightly. Font colors have changed and some contrast being put on those. So for example, when it was white on black, which as it wasn't that bad, is now gone to yellow on black, which is the most contrasting of colors. So it's tried to emphasize the contrasting for navigation. And then there's also this sort of, and it looks neat to someone who's visual. There's this sort of little red square that moves around the focus. Could you explain to me if those are useful for you? I'm probably going to say not, because you're not very visual, but you also teach people who use Zoom text, which obviously this is aimed more at people who have some visual impairment, not completely blind, so they're not using screen readers, they're using magnifying. What does that sound to you like? Does it sound like something they already got, or that's something new and powerful for them to use?
No, there's nothing really new or powerful in it, because if you're and I am a prior Zoom text user, and I still use it sometimes, but all those things that were mentioned, they have the ability to do already with Zoom text. You can enhance focus, You can change the color scheme of as far as how the color scheme is presented visually. So you can use a high contrast color setting. You can change cursor enhancements. You can do everything that's sort of being done visually on the screen is already built into the magnification software. So it's doing nothing to be beneficial at all for the individual that's using the site.
So I think I just want to recap. What these widget companies have done is taken old technology and repackaged it. They've delivered in a way that if you don't know anything about accessibility, if you don't know anything about disability in the digital space and what people are using, they've repackaged it to make it look good. But it doesn't do anything that isn't already available by people who already use assistive technology. They will argue that, oh, there's millions and millions of people who are who need benefit, need some of these features, and they're probably right. They do need this bit of benefit and features, but they're not the core people that companies are trying to support with digital accessibility, and they're not the people that are suing companies because they can't access their site. So the widgets, in summary, they do not change the code. They do not make it any easier for someone like Joe, who's used to using websites with a screen reader, any easier. And in effect, they add another layer to Joe. They make him use another piece of technology that he doesn't want to learn to potentially get no benefit. And as you saw from the actual code value, no code value, even more confusing for Joe than it was not using the widget. So this is the presentation that widgets are trying to make. They're trying to make people who don't know anything about accessibility, haven't understood what people use already as technology, and repackage old technology that's been around 20 years to make it look cool and funky. And adds no value to the accessibility community as a whole, which is why you won't find any advocate groups advocating for people to put widgets on their site. You won't hear lawyers talking about putting widgets on their site. And all of these sites are still getting sued by lawyers because of their lack of code support and lack of accessibility to people who have got screen readers and are blind. Joe, did you have any closing comments on that?
Not really. I just the experience with my experience with these when I'm dealing with these sites with widgets is in most cases not a positive experience. Right? It's always a frustration, and inevitably in a lot of instances I wind up not really being able to utilize the site at the end of the day, and it's just a frustrating experience overall.
Great. Okay, so let's go back to the live session and let's start with some Q&A, I think.